it's time now to review headlines on today's newspapers with the Ombudsman of This Day and Arise Media Group and This Day Newspapers Limited Group Executive Director Kayode Komolafe, our Sunday tonic. Good morning. It's always a pleasure to have you here. We are missing our Charlie. We're missing Charlie.
Today is just angels without Charlie.
Just angels without Charlie today.
Am I not lucky?
Yes.
On this cool Sunday morning.
Mr. Komolafe and his angels. All right, I guess we'll start the review. Shaito, you want to take over
All
with
right,
This Day?
then, starting with This Day, Nigeria's newspaper of record. Starting from the headline story there, Akpabio, it will be abnormal for me not to have APC produce Akwa Ibom governor in 2027. Looks like we're already having those conversations. We've already seen all the results coming from the Supreme Court. So now our focus is on 2027. But I mean, it's not unexpected. Mr. Keke, what do you think about this story?
Well, maybe it's too early to be talking of 2027 now. I think this should be the time you should be debating policies, governance, the mandates that have been gotten at various levels. How are they delivering on it? That should be the focus now. What do we do with the mandates that, like you said, which the Supreme Court just legitimized, legalized in various states, I think this should be the time for policy debates and not policy. I think it's too early.
Definitely.
2027 is still
far.
It's still far away.
Next, just under the headline story is Amaechi counsels Nigerians not to flee the country, says enormous opportunities abound, insists it's easy to become a minister or governor in Nigeria. Fashola says nothing strange about people leaving the country in the face of globalization. Is it easy, Mr. KK, to become a minister or a governor? Just that 100, how much is that form that you have to fill?
Well, I guess this was from the interview with Perspective with Ruth Osime and yesterday with Amaechi and of course Fashola, who was trending for saying that he only gets 500,000 naira as pension from the Lagos State governor. Well, like Shaito has asked, is it really easy to become governor? I mean, I guess it's just the fact of trying to have Nigerians respect our space here, learn more, put all your efforts in Nigeria, and don't jackpot, even though our president is saying, don't worry about those people jackpotting.
Yeah, I think the perspectives of the two former governors, two former ministers, namely former governor Rotimi Amaechi and former governor Babatunde Fashola, I think the perspectives they brought into the brain drain thing is, the perspectives are very significant, and they are really worth reflecting upon by the public. I think their position, first of all, like Fashola said, that it is nothing strange if you are talking of globalization. And Amaechi, in his own case, is making a plea. But I think the point, like I said, that the perspectives are worth discussing is that just look at the two sectors that are really affected by the brain drain. They are social sectors, education and health. Mainly, there are other sectors, but in the main, you have professionals living from the health sector and also from education sector. We have a lot of, perhaps you have more professors of Nigerian descent in North America and other than you have in some Nigerian universities. This same thing with doctors and nurses. But like the note of optimism, inherent in the perspectives, is what I'm trying to underline of both Mr. Fashola and Mr. Amaechi. That when people now take the advantage of that, to talk down on their country, and I dare say that there is nothing that makes Nigeria to be a hell, and it is a wrong thing to say that this is the worst place, and that every country has its own problem. Because just recently, even currently, in Britain, in the health sector, the NHS, is confronted with the worst strike in its history. Young doctors are on strike, and what are the issues, poor remuneration. And in the process, you also talk of, doctors migrating from the UK to other places, to Canada and to the US, But when it is presented in Nigeria, you think that it is only here that you have the problem. So what I'm trying to say is that, first of all, we must approach our problem on a note of optimism, not this, endemic Afro-pessimism, of thinking that whatever is there is the worst. Then, adding to that is the fact that it's a challenge now for government. Like I said, if you pinpoint that the social sectors, education and health, that are what say that, the implication of that is that government will just have to fund these sectors, and it's an issue, which is not quite straightforward, because in terms of policy debate in Nigeria, the neoliberal perspectives, dominate, as a present, people think, oh, government cannot fund education, government cannot fund it, government cannot do it alone. It is everything. It is beyond government. In a society where you make education and health, to be commodities, you commodify it, you're going to have the problem, because it is when you fund those sectors, make them a priority, as issues of development, then that you'll be able to talk about the personnel working in those sectors. Because to be able to develop the education and health sector, the first word there is that those who are running it, those who are the mainstay, that is the workforce, the university lecturers, the doctors, the nurses, the pharmacists, you have to be interested in their welfare, because they are the most important elements in the system. Of course, you have to get the infrastructure, right. So the challenge, because these are both Amaechi and Fashola, these are people who, perhaps in the last 25 years, they've been in government at various levels, governors and ministers, and they are now sharing their experiences. I think that is one conclusion we have to draw from that, while saluting them, for their optimistic perspective.
Before you do this, I think it's a very important story that is important to note. Still on the cover of this day, FCT, police parade 29 kidnappers and other criminals arrested in Buhari. Very, very great news coming in from the FCT, seeing the high spate in kidnappings coming from them.
Did I see yesterday there was news that those girls were released? Was it this
yes,
morning?
This morning.
Yeah,
and
absolutely kudos to the Nigerian military as well. I saw a video that was trending, although I haven't verified that video, of how our military men were out there in the forefront fighting and trying to secure our nation. We always need to commend our security forces for a good job well done. Yes. Shall we head over to this day's style, or would you want to comment on that?
Just on that, because I was trying to say that if you like, the story of today really is the security, because virtually all the front pages are dominated by the story of insecurity in various parts of the country, and of course the focus is on kidnapping. And I agree with you, Oji, that today we have a mixture of both the good and the bad news, and I think we should rather focus on the good news. That is where the security forces are making a breakthrough. Some of the captives are regaining their freedom, and then to also challenge and also encourage them, that more should be done. Those Nigerians who are still in captivity, of kidnappers, they should be free, and the public should also cooperate with the security forces in terms of giving information, intelligence, to ensure that we get over this problem, kidnapping. Yeah. I think it's good news today.
Yes,
It's always kudos to our security forces.
Absolutely.
Kudos to them.
But they just need to do more. They should just recreate what they've done in Abuja in all the different.
I think we should always encourage, especially our military.
I love the intervention squad that was inaugurated last week. Yes. Yeah, and they had like several armored vehicles, arms. And of course, the famous drone. Did you see the drone?
And that is why it's good to highlight.
Yes, it's beautiful to see.
Yes. It's not all the time, stories of.
Absolutely, well done. Kudos to them. All right, let's take this day's style. The cover there, we have about 6 personalities. Let me be sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 personalities, and they are the Nigerian creative industry in 2024. I believe this day is highlighting these people. We have here, I cannot call all their names, Obi Asika, Tiwa Savage, Davido, Tola Akere, Le, as well as Charles Opaleke, and of course, Thames. These people have been doing us proud. Last week we had the creatives as well as the politicians and people from various sectors.
Economy,
game changers of 2024. Now we are seeing this day highlighting this creative sector. Of course, the Nigerian creative industry is a testimony to its people's relentless spirit and boundless creativity. This sector, pulsating with young, talented, and ambitious individuals, has metamorphosed into a crucial component of the nation's cultural and economic framework. Kudos to all of them, really. Mr. Komolafe, Obi Asika recently was, given that position for part of in the creative sector. What was that position again? Do you recall his position?
He's now the DG for the National Council for Arts and Culture. Very well deserved.
Very, very well deserved. And he was, obviously trending.
And a very important agency.
Yes. And he deserves that role, really. He really knows his onions. Well, we hope to interview him here hopefully soon, so he can, highlight what it is that he's going to be doing with the ministry.
Definitely.
All right. Adeswa, do you want to quickly take
the Sunday Vanguard? On top of the header there, we have Fani Kaide on history and January 1966 coup. I love anytime we talk about history. I think it's very important for us to know where we're going. We have to know where we've come from.
Absolutely.
The next story there, tension as explosion rocks Kaduna community. 10 children feared injured. That's the video that I've been seeing online that was previously unconfirmed. Benue attack, military outfits lost 3 men, 2 injured. Understanding Project Gazelle, $3.3 billion crude loan from Afrexim is short midterm solution to FX shortage. So how do you feel about the loan being used to help support our shortage of the dollar?
I think the situation in which we are in now is that you get help from wherever help can come from, at least at this period, to be able to stabilize the economy so that the various policy trusts, then we'll see how they play out. I think any effort to help in stabilizing the situation, because the situation with the forest market is such that it's not good music in the areas of manufacturers. People are really engaged in productive sector. That they what it will cost you to buy the dollar today will be different from what it will be tomorrow, So any effort to help in stabilizing should be a welcome one.
Thank you. And the biggest story is what we were just talking about. Abuja fights back after murderous kidnappers offensive. 85 seized in 96 hours of terror. Bandits strike in Kaduna, kill principal, abduct wife and baby. And police burst Abuja kidnapping ring, arrest 3 suspected kingpins. So
very good news.
We hope to see more fighting back from our security agencies, from our police, from the military, from the intelligence agencies. We need to curb the insecurity, the kidnapping, and the banditry.
It should be more victories for the security forces.
Less than 2 minutes. Do you want to take another paper? Let me do that. Can we pull up the Guardian newspaper there? And the lead story, new minimum wage, how Tinubu Labour can achieve April take-off date. I guess this is an opinion piece in the Guardian newspaper. I'd love to read that.
It's an analysis.
That's what I mean, an opinion piece from someone there. Electricity subsidy, flawed tariff assumption, public welfareism, and a dying industry. Then another story, Tinubu seeks financing mechanism, equitable capital market access for developing countries. as well as another security story there. 10 children injured as bomb explodes in Kaduna community. I guess we'll see this Kaduna story in all the pages of the newspaper. I don't know if you got a chance to read this new minimum wage and how Tinubu and Labour can achieve that April take-off date. Only, I believe, last week, the Minister for Labour and Employment, Nkiruka Onyejocha, had announced that 35,000 wage award was going to, they're going to disperse it soon. I mean, even as it sounds, as cheery as it sounds, a lot of Nigerians are still very wary about why is it taking so long in a few seconds.
But I think to make a distinction, the award of 35,000 is a different thing from the national minimum. The national minimum wage is the thing that will end up in lawmaking process. It has to be enacted as an act, So I think it's the analysis there is quite I mean, it's an optimistic projection, that given the dialogue between Labour, and government at present, that it should be possible to meet the target of April, knowing well that the process of having a national minimum wage will involve collective bargaining, among the social partners, and at the end of the day, the National Assembly will have to enact it into a law, and then it will become operative. So the outlook is such that it's quite possible to meet this, and I think it will be in the interest of the economy.
Absolutely.
To have it.
It be done as
because the minimum wage is an instrument, of poverty reduction, and also to reduce inequality. It's quite a potent economic tool.
Mr. Komolafe, it's always a pleasure to have you on our Sunday Turning program. Mr. Komolafe and his angels. Have a great Sunday.
KK's angels.
KK's angels.